Hi everyone, my name is Daniel Kronevet, the founder of Zeratan Co-Living and the creator of Chore Wheel, and I'm going to give everyone a walkthrough of the Chores app. The Chores app is an amazing tool for living with other people, and I'm very excited to share it with you today. So the Chores app is a Slack app, and so you can see here that we have a Slack. This is the Slack for my apartment that I share with my partner. We call it High Life because it's apartment 18. And this is what it looks like. So you see that over here on the sidebar, we have the three apps, Chores, Hearts, and Things. We're only going to talk about chores today. And then we have different channels, general, and then log channels for the different apps, random, and then you can see us. So nothing really fancy. Because there's only two of us, we don't make a ton of use of the actual Slack channel functionality. In different houses, there'd be much more of that, but we do use the Chores app a lot. So over here we see the Chores app homepage. Every Slack app has a homepage. This is what it looks like. The top is just sort of regular text. This is always the same, gives people who are coming onto the app a quick introduction into the behavior. And then everything down here is dynamic and is more of a dashboard for you, the user. So here we see I've earned 0 points out of 100 this month. There are two people around today, my partner and I. Events, so any claim or vote gets posted to this channel. And then we see the 6 actions that we can take: claim a chore, take a break, gift your points, add a special chore, edit the chores list, or set priorities. So we're going to go through these one at a time. The first thing we can do is we can claim a chore, which is the basic action. If you only want to do one thing, you can just do this. So we see here that when you do a claim, it's verified by other people. So people have to basically approve that you weren't lying. And then you can see here to claim a chore, what the chores are. So this is sort of the central flow of the whole product. We see that food prep is worth 8 points, dishes is worth 4, so on and so forth. So let's say I just did the dishes. I'm going to click dishes, click next. We see here, okay, this is what the dishes involves. Empty the dishwasher, put the dry dishes away, load the dirty dishes into the dishwasher, or if you need to, wash them by hand. So the idea is that by the time I've done this chore, the whole dishes situation is back to baseline. So I click submit, and then we see that there was now an event posted to the log chores channel. I click on that, and then we say, hey, look at that. I did the dishes for 4 points. I have a gold medal because I've done so many dishes in the past because I'm such a great boyfriend. We see that at least one upvote is needed, which I already have because of me. And then if we open here, we see that the description was posted as a comment so that anyone can see what is required. And so anyone else could basically either give me a thumbs up saying that I did a great job. They could give me a thumbs down if I, for whatever reason, didn't do a great job. Or most likely they'll just do nothing because they don't have to worry about it. One of the big ideas of the Chores app is that people don't need to engage or participate unless there's an issue. So when everything is going smoothly, you just don't have to think about it. But if for whatever reason something has gone wrong, all of a sudden there's something that you can do. So it's really meant to organize around people getting into a rhythm and not about something that takes up a lot of your time and energy. If we scroll up, we see, I was traveling, so I didn't do much earlier this month, but Ali did the dishes, cleaned up the kitchen, cleaned up the living room, and so on and so forth. And you can see, here's all of our contributions to our apartment over the last several months. And so, the nice thing about this system is that everyone's contributions, instead of maybe sometimes being hidden or people feeling like they're not being appreciated, you see what everyone's doing right here in the channel. So now we go back to the homepage. We see that all of a sudden now I have 4 points. Amazing, good for me. And that's that. So the next functionality is taking a break. So let's say that I go out of town. I was out of town for a few weeks traveling for work. I shouldn't really owe 100 points because I just wasn't around for that long. So when you take a break, you owe fewer points, and also fewer points are given out because not as many people are making a mess. So let's say that I'm going out of town for a ski trip this weekend. I leave on Friday, and I would come back on Monday, and I would say, hey, going on a ski trip. I hit submit. Bam, back at the chores channel, we see Daniel is taking a 3-day break, ski trip. I go back to the chores channel and look at that. I only owe 90 points this month because I'm gone for 3 days. So I don't have to all of a sudden come back and scramble because I have to do 100 points in just a week. So when you're out of town, your requirement goes down the same. Plus, there's transparency. Everyone knows where everyone is, and there's a lot of accountability while also giving flexibility. The next thing we're going to do is gift your points. So let's say that, Allie, did an amazing job, or, got me a present, or whatever, gave me a massage when I had a hard day, whatever it is. Let's say you want to give someone some points, or maybe you split a chore, like we tag teamed the dishes, and so I want to give half the points to Allie, whatever it is, gift your points. Then you say, okay, who are you going to give it to? In this case, it's Allie. 2 points. Let's say, being such a good friend. You hit submit, and then there you go again. Look at that. Gifted Allie 2 points. You go back to the chores homepage, and look at that. I now only have 2 points, and Allie has two more. So going over here, we have add special chore. And the idea behind the Chores app is that most chores occur on an ongoing basis. So you do the dishes, then you do the dishes again, and then you do the dishes again. And the idea is that nothing is ever done, nothing is done one time, but we're just ongoing doing what needs to be done over and over again. That's the fundamental idea. But sometimes there's a task that is really just a one-off. Let's say there's a closet that, after 6 months has become very cluttered, or there's like a big organizational task, like we want to make a collage wall, a big project that doesn't really fit into the recurring chore kind of paradigm. You can add a special chore. And so we would add a special chore, and then we say, okay, special chore, and let's say, you know, clean the front closet. And we say, throw out old umbrellas, organize the coats, and maybe, replace the mothballs. Why not? Let's be crazy. Then we say this is going to be worth 20 points because this is a big task, and that's how it's going to go. Normally, points are always going to be accumulating, but with a special chore, you have to decide in advance how many points it's worth. So it's a little bit different from normal chores in that regard, but that was kind of how we were able to add this functionality and to make it all play nicely with the more dynamic chore system that's done for regular chores. You hit submit, and then you go here. And the thing to realize here is that I can't unilaterally make a special chore. I can claim a chore unilaterally. I can take a break and gift my points without needing any approval. But if I want to make a special chore, if I want to basically create a new resource, and reduce the amount of resources available for others, then that has to go to a group process. In this case, because there's only two of us and it's only 20 points, I only need one upvote. But in a larger house, let's say, a 9-person house, then this would be closer to like 3 or 4 upvotes to make the chore. And so this is the proposal. It's a 48-hour process so that everyone has time. Maybe people are out of town or they're at work. The idea is that every vote is available for a day or two so that people with their different schedules are all able to participate without needing to show up in a physical meeting or be present at any given time. So once this is created, it'll appear here in the normal claim. It would show up right here as a 20-point chore, and I could claim it just like anything else. Now over here we have edit chores list. And so very similarly to add special chore, if you want to add a new recurring chore, if you want to change or remove a chore, like let's say that we want to add a chore, which is, let me think of something interesting. Maybe we really like to keep kind of the aesthetic fresh, and we want to add a chore, which is, let's say it's, rearrange the bookshelf. Let's say we're big readers, and we're always taking books off the shelf, and we just want to arrange the bookshelf every week so it's nice and alphabetical. We say arrange all books in alphabetical order. Right, that's all it is. I hit submit, and very similarly to special chore, it now is a proposal. And so we have to have everyone, in this case, it's just two of us, so there's only one upvote, but in a larger house, it would be more to approve that we add this chore. And once it is approved, then it goes into the normal rotation, just like any of these chores. And it'll be something that comes up, it'll gain points, people will rearrange the bookshelf however often they need to, and that just becomes a part of the routine that everyone just now cares about. Very similarly, if you want to remove a chore, you can do that. You can just say, I think that, um, you know, the bedroom tidy, the bedroom is really not that messy. I think that we just sort of make the bed on our own. There's really no need for this to be a whole task. So we're just going to delete it, and that's going to be that. And then you would just say bedroom tidy. We're going to delete. I'm not going to do it because I actually like the task. Here, I'll actually, you know what? We'll submit it. And then I'm going to downvote my own proposal. And now you see, oh, now it's going to fail because there's 0 upvotes and only 1 downvote. I'm also going to actually downvote all of my proposals because I don't actually want them to pass. This is just a demonstration. But now you see how it works. And one more thing I'll show here is that if you're an admin, so if you're an admin in the Slack workspace, then you can actually just force a proposal, meaning you can just go ahead and add it on your own without needing to have a vote. And this was meant to make it easier for new groups of people to just get up and running without having to wait around for a couple of days when they're just trying out this tool. I think that the idea was if you're just trying this out and the first thing that you have to do is have a bunch of votes and wait for 2 days, it's just not a good experience. And so, as a compromise, I felt strongly about the sort of distributed decision making aspect of this product, but at the end of the day, letting people make chores on their own was a really important part of making this something that people could easily get up and running and use. The last piece of functionality that I want to demo, which in my opinion is actually some of the most interesting, is the ability to set priorities. And so the idea here is that not every chore is equally important or needs to be done as often, and some chores are just much more important than others. And allowing the system to really adapt to that and give a lot more of the points to some chores over others was really important. And as I said before, the key idea is that the number of points that are entering into the system for all the chores is fixed and is equal to the amount of points that people owe, and that the whole system is steady state. That's a really important part of making the system work and be resilient over time. But within that, some chores can gain a relatively larger share of the points than others. And so this is the way that the residents can basically create those, can set those priorities. So let's say that I want to prioritize, let's say that I feel that, the trash has been kind of piling up. I think that the trash has been piling up and it's not good. And I think that we should be putting more effort into taking out the trash. And I'm going to say, you know what? I think that this is we only need to make a small change. I think that this is generally fine. I just think we need to give a little bit more priority to the trash, and that will make the house even more awesome and amazing. So then I basically say, okay, I want to prioritize trash take up by a little. And then it's okay, well, what do I want to deprioritize? Ultimately, because everything is relative, if I want to prioritize something, I have to be willing to deprioritize something else. That is the kind of fundamental idea and sort of constraint on this to keep the whole system stable. And so I'm going to say, okay, I think that the dishes, we're not really, we don't use a lot of dishes. We can probably do dishes a little bit less. I think it's really important that we really prioritize taking out the trash. So I'm going to deprioritize the dishes. And you can see, dishes are currently worth 423. The term is PPT, points per thousand, which means for every 1,000 points that are given out, a little bit every day, 423, so let's say 42% of all the points go to dishes. And maybe that's more than we need. So then I'll click next. And then we say, okay, after I make this update where I take some of the priority that is currently going to dishes and I give that priority, I deprioritize dishes and I prioritize the trash. Now trash is going to have a priority increase of 112 PPT. That's a pretty big change, but that's also because dishes was a very high priority chore. So if you take something that's very high priority and you make something else even more of a priority than that, then the effect is bigger. And behind the scenes, there's some interesting sort of design and calculation that goes into this process. But kind of fundamentally for you, for the user, you really think of it as a relative process. I want to increase one thing, decrease something else, and by decreasing something important, the impact is going to be larger than if I decrease something that was already unimportant. So that's the idea there. I'll hit submit, and then we see here that look, I prioritize trash takeout. Now trash takeout is even more of a priority, and that is just going forward. Trash is going to be worth even more points. And the thing to realize is that in this exact moment, trash is not worth more. So it's not as if I go here and trash takeout is all of a sudden going to be worth 50 points. It's over time, every couple hours, as the points accumulate, trash takeout will be worth a little bit more than it would be before. So over, 1 or 2 or 3 days, trash takeout is going to be worth more than it would have been otherwise. That's the core idea there. So that's basically the whole system. We can claim a chore, and that's the basic interaction. Most people are just going to be claiming chores. They'll be taking breaks as they go out of town, and they'll be gifting their points as needed. Those are sort of the basic interactions. And then the more sort of advanced interactions are creating special chores, editing the chores, and then setting the priorities to really fine tune how the whole house is going to run. So together, we have this whole system that is very flexible, it's dynamic, it's intuitive, and it does a pretty good job of allowing a bunch of people to live and work together without requiring them to spend a whole ton of time talking and in meetings. So that's the Chores app. It's live. You can use it today. So please, if you have any desire to kind of upgrade your home life, to spend less time talking about dishes and more time just enjoying each other's company, then give the Chores app a try today.